food, the music, the vibe. Kick off your summer at the Ohio Black Expo Riverfront Culture Fest. Tell your friends, share with family. There's no other place to be Memorial Day weekend. Celebrate Black excellence.
Plus 2 concerts featuring Tidra Moses, Talib Kweli, and Jay Rawls, the one and only Marsha Ambrosius, and more.
Experience the African diaspora at its finest. So go to OhioBlackExpo.com for tickets, updates, and more. Visit OhioBlackExpo.com. That's OhioBlackExpo.com.
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
At African Diaspora News Channel, we cover stories that don't receive mainstream attention, and we serve as the voice to the global Black community. We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media, connecting the African diaspora one story at a time.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. It's so good to see you today. I have missed you all. Thank you so much for tuning in, family. And be sure to share the broadcast. That's so important because that way it helps to generate notifications so that others will know that we're here. And it's so important, especially for alternative voices, where sometimes it's difficult to find us. And sometimes it's just by a technical situation, and sometimes it's intentional. So when you're intentional by spreading our message and sharing, beloved, you strengthen our collective Black voice. And for that, we say thank you so much. Family, I want to get right to where we're going today. Yes. Now, how many of you all remember that I've been doing several broadcasts on the immigration issue in Chicago? I love our FBA family there. I had the privilege of meeting some of you on the ground when I did a Black town hall meeting there in a Black establishment, a Black restaurant there last year during the week of the DNC. Yes. Of course, I was covering a lot of your stories there long before I met you in person, but it was such a privilege to meet some of you. With that being said, some of the very folks that I've been covering here, I got a chance to meet, and there has been quite a bit of backlash. Now, I want to remind you of one instance. For example, how many of you all remember sometime back, one of the migrants, or the Latino migrants in Chicago during one of the city hall meetings on immigration had the nerve to loudly call foundational Black Americans lazy? And how many of you all know that this is a sentiment that is not just from him, but it is shared amongst those that are a part of the powers that shouldn't be? But they got the folks like this fella on the ground saying such ignorant things. Yes. Now, trust me, I'm going to tell you why I'm discussing this. But since I've done broadcasts on this, since we posted on this, even on my personal channel, I'm on Instagram. By the way, family, you can follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. But I'm on Instagram. Let me tell y'all something. I posted one of the mini clips of Sister Jessica Jackson. How many of y'all know I've covered her? Do you all know, next to the video I put up on Don Lemon, which had over 1 million views, that's the second highest one, as far as I know, in recent history on my Instagram channel. Again, I'm at Vicki X Dillard on Instagram. Y'all, over 752,000 people watched that clip that I posted on my channel there on Instagram about our sister explaining who's really lazy after migrants loudly and publicly disrespect us and tell us that we're lazy, right? While they're flouting their illegal selves around our country and with no fear of repercussions. Yes. Well, because of that, you can imagine the comments are outrageous. You don't have that many views without a whole lot of comments and nonstop back to back. And I'm still getting comments today. So that's why I decided to go over this again. But I want to connect the dots with something that's been in the news even more recently. Yes. Just as a reminder, I want the team, if you can, team, let's get ready to, first of all, let's play a first brief short clip of Sister Jessica Jackson at a city hall meeting not too long ago in Chicago, putting the illegal migrants in their place for disrespecting foundational Black Americans and calling us lazy. Watch this clip.
They need to know who they talking to. Lazy is crossing the border, begging for money. Oh! Lazy is sitting up here acting like you're an asylum seeker when the only thing you're doing is running to another country, standing on the plight of Black people, using our laws, using excuse to get ahead. That's lazy. Lazy is sitting up here breaking into abandoned buildings to live in.
Okay, family. Now, our sister, she put it in proper context, yes? She let them know, how dare you, in other words, call us, we who built the United States of America, who shed our blood, fought in every single war, who has multiple crucifixions and trees here in the United States that we were strung up on. Talk like to me, somebody whose body parts were dismembered and ingested and set on fire. How dare you disrespect us when we're the ones responsible for erecting the buildings and the layout of this country and its industry and all of its major disciplines and its culture and its class. Yes, we who are foundational Black Americans. How dare you, those of us that are the true founding fathers and mothers of this country, you come over here and disrespect us. We haven't gotten one red cent of reparations, but everybody else and their mama has gotten some sort of tangible in some way, form, or fashion, and you call us lazy. So it's interesting, and I'm talking about this because I told you they're mad that we've been checking y'all, the illegal folks, for saying that. Now watch this. One of the things that some of you all that are from other countries, the Caribbean especially, a lot of folks that have been commenting and responding have been saying, well, y'all are fighting the wrong ones. You're fighting your own melanated brothers and sisters, and the people on the ground, the illegal immigrants that violated the law to get here, they're not the ones that's really in charge. They're not the real power source. So why are you all directing all your energy to my foundational Black Americans, to them? First of all, that shows your wild ignorance. The reason why y'all lost, Democrats that is, who promote illegal immigration more than anybody, the White House, talk back to me, somebody. The reason you lost the Senate, the reason why you lost the House of Representatives all at the same time is because we have been directing our energy to those of you that are in power in DC. I had to hit the gavel on that. Our sister Jessica Jackson has been in Washington, D.C. as well as others testifying, because it was only the Republicans that actually gave voice to what we were saying on the ground. Before the election, the Democrats mocked us, muted us, didn't elevate our voices when we showed legit concerns. But then you all get mad because the other party, who, yes, they have their own ill will for promoting our voices on this issue, but nevertheless, so does the Democrats. The politicians, they're supposed to respond to us. The Democrats didn't even respect us enough to properly respond to our concerns that we were expressing for years. It was the Democrats that were so upset because we were taking our complaints directly to you that we, Foundation of Black Americans in Chicago for years told y'all, okay, the DNC is coming up here soon. They let you know in advance. They had planned on ship shaping the stuff. They were giving you so much work, both the local Democrats and national Democrats, that you all change your political meetings, the rules, to prevent, frustrate, and foil their voices from being heard. We always talk directly to the power source. But do you think we're supposed to let it slide? When illegal migrants come to meetings and loudly display that we're lazy? Somebody say, prove it, Vicki. Let's give you one example. Can the team get ready to play the next video just as a reminder of an illegal migrant twitching his hips up to a city hall meeting in Chicago and telling foundational Black Americans that we're lazy and no more money for us? Let me remind you of what we've been dealing with. Watch this clip.
Money for you. You working. No more money for you. Bye-bye.
Go back across the
No more money for you. It's lazy. You lazy. No more.
Okay, family, did you see that? Now, first of all, Black family, what other crime do you know that somebody can commit in the United States and publicly go to a government meeting where lawmakers are there, security, police are somewhere within proximity, and that person flouts their illegality and their illegal selves, publicize their crimes, and then turn around and says to The people that built the country that objects to that because they're giving them all kinds of tangibles. They're giving them housing. They're giving them money. They're giving them jobs. They're giving them all kinds of goodies and healthcare and stuff. Talk black to me, somebody. Are y'all listening? I want you all to understand that what other crime could you publicly do that on and be willing to have yourself recorded? You're willing, and some of them was even willing to testify at the city meetings. Some of y'all show up on TV, NBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, and other channels to show your illegal selves, to tell us how you advocating against policies to deport you with your illegal self. Don't y'all think that's interesting? That you tell us, oh, we're not dealing with the main power. No, baby, we can walk and chew gum. You're trying to justify your disrespect of us. You want us to let that slide. We want you to know we're putting you in your place because a lot of you all get your talking points from the head. So we want you to turn around from the very source where you got that narrative, where you feel comfortable, the people that made you feel comfortable swimming the seas and stop to get here. Paddling the canoes and stop. Whatever means you chose to do, however you got over here. The people that allowed you to feel comfortable to do that, they know that when we check you on the local level, on the ground, they know that dog don't hunt. The trick of bringing and sending you, they know that doesn't work. So we're dealing with the power source at the top when we check you. But don't forget, we've been checking the people at the top. We're going to check every party involved. Did you hear what I said? I said we going to check every party involved. Now, I'm bringing this up again because I told you all the hundreds of thousands of folks that watch my clip on my personal Instagram channel, because this is a hot issue and y'all's comments have been outrageous and people are so mad that they can't believe that black folks in America are actually defending themselves. You don't get to disrespect us. And you don't get to deflect to say, well, it's the people at the top that's behind it. We dealt with the people at the top. We're dealing with the people at the top. It's an issue, and y'all lost all the power centers, Democrats, because we've effectively been dealing with the people at the top. But that doesn't mean you're going to be off the hook. Because if you didn't cooperate with the people at the top, if you didn't have that anti-black sentiment, they wouldn't be able to use you. So you think we just going to let you escape? You think we just going to let you get away with disrespecting us on all level? No. That's just like hearing about these white supremacists that's deleting foundational black Americans, that's in the national news using their military grade weapons to take us out. We can call that out, right? But if you see a child in kindergarten fighting their classmate, that's just like you telling them, say, well, don't worry about correcting the little kindergarten that started a fight with his little classmate because the boy at Columbine, we got to talk about him more. You see how that sounds stupid? The police that took out George Floyd, that's a bigger issue than correcting the little boy and that kicked his classmate in kindergarten. You see how that don't make sense? You see how you supposed to check the little boy even if he used violence to kick his classmate in kindergarten? And you can address the issue with George Floyd? Y'all, do you understand that? You see how that doesn't make sense to say, well, why would you correct the little boy in kindergarten for violence when we got the George Floyds of the world to worry about? You see how that doesn't even make sense? You see how all of those different moving parts work together? I just want you all to know, I know y'all mad. I know y'all big mad that we're checking you, but we can walk and chew gum at the same time. You don't deflect from your disrespect to tell us to look at the folks at the top when that's who we dealing with. The only reason why stuff's happening is because we've been dealing with the folks at the top. But we're going to put you in your place too. And you are part. The people at the top send you they send you out. They allow you to do what you do on the ground. That's what exacerbates stuff. That's what causes stuff to be a boiling point. So we're going to deal with everybody. Talk black to me. You ain't getting off the hook. Now watch this. Not only that, I only got a couple of more minutes before I get out of here. Before I get out of here, I want to make a larger point. Yes, It's been a minute since I've seen some of you all. If you're just tuning in, be sure to share the broadcast. My name is Vicki Dillard, beloved, and you can follow me and learn more about me on my website at VickiPlanet.com. That's VICKI Planet.com. Be sure to share the broadcast, family. So we've been talking about this issue for a while. I'm reminding you of some stuff because I've been getting a lot of feedback after getting over 700,000 views on my Instagram page from a clip that I put up on my sister Jessica Jackson on this very issue that I just showed you, right? Watch this. So what's been in the news lately, family? What's been in the news lately is this Salvadorian that you all said you gave him legal status in the United States, but he initially came over here illegally. Whatever the issue is, he's taking up all the news by storm. I'm gonna read a little bit about this real quick before I make my larger point. I'm reading from an article now from NBC, and I want y'all to get ready to look at a picture. I'm going to refer to a picture here in just a minute, in my last few minutes. This NBC News, for those of you that don't know what's been in the news the past few days, is this. It says here, Trump-appointed judge orders the return of Venezuelan migrant deported to El Salvador. A judge ruled Wednesday, that was yesterday, that Trump administration must facilitate the return of a 20-year-old migrant who was deported last month because his removal violated the class action lawsuit settled last year. A Trump-appointed federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to facilitate the return of a Venezuelan man who was deported to El Salvador last month, saying his deportation violated a prior settlement. The 20-year-old migrant, who goes by the pseudonym Christian, in court filings, was deported to El Salvador prison on March 15th. The deportation came after President Donald Trump's, quote, invocation of the Alien Enemies Act regarding the invasion of the United States by Tren de Aragua proclamation, known as the AEA proclamation. It says Maryland District Judge Stephanie Gallagher, however, ruled Wednesday that Christian should not have been deported because he's part of a class action settlement that bars his removal pending his asylum application adjudication. I'm gonna read that last part again. The judge said that his deportation violated a class action settlement that bars, in other words, or stops his removal pending his asylum application adjudication. So it hasn't been dealt with yet. But in lieu of the fact that he's basically in a pending stage, that his deportation was illegal. It goes further, as I just mentioned, Christian was part of a class action suit filed in 2019 by a group of undocumented immigrants, by a group of criminals. That's what that means when you violate the law, because there's no cute, sweet names that they come up with black folks. From 2019 by a group of undocumented immigrants who entered the U.S. as unaccompanied children and later sought to remain in the U.S. as their asylum applications were adjudicated on the merits by the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. A settlement in the case was reached in 2024. Despite the settlement, Christian was deported. Counsel for the class plaintiffs filed an emergency motion on April 14th to enforce the settlement agreement. But the defendants, including the Department of Homeland Security, USCIS, and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, argued that Christian's removal didn't violate the settlement agreement because his designation as an alien enemy pursuant to the AEI results in him ceasing to be a member of the class group. It goes on talking about the declaration filed by Robert L. Cerna, an ICE acting field office director of enforcement and removal operations. It says Christian was arrested in January for cocaine possession in Harris County, and the ERO later placed a detainer on him. Cerna said ICE determined Christian was subject to the AEA proclamation. Gallagher ordered that he be returned to the U.S. under the settlement agreement. Now watch this. Come close to the screen. I promise you, I brushed my teeth. I want to be clear. I'm a person of justice. Trump did say in his press conference with the El Salvadorian president, he did, in addition to talking about those that he said legitimately are illegal in this country and they deserve to be deported, he did say that those who are true citizens got like naturalized and that are actual citizens of the United States. He did say that his team was considering that. That's wrong. And I'm not, even though it don't matter how much I dislike a certain group and no matter how much I feel like folks are playing around, we got to be honest about that. I'm not going to play around like that's cute what he's talking about. No, if they're legitimate legal citizens, You don't get to do that, Trump. That's wrong. And I want to be clear. And I know some of y'all may or may not like that, but I'm a person of justice. But when it comes down to the issue of someone that's criminal and that's illegal, you better get your hips out of here. Do you know that in addition to this Christian guy that said that they found cocaine on him? And if that's true, how many of y'all know Foundation of Black Americans who were citizens here who did nonviolent crimes that didn't bother nobody else? They haven't been able to get good housing, good jobs, good businesses, good loans, none of that. And because they were so stressed, they slipped up and smoked some weed or something. And they returned them back to prison because they said they violated for probation. This dude is illegal in the first place, allegedly. Then you turn around and smoke crack cocaine. And then you turn around and say, oh no, I'm protected. But what gets me is not even that part. No matter how disagreeable that is. Every major news organization, print, cable, television, and otherwise, they are meeting with these illegals. Your politicians are meeting with them. Can I ask you a question, family? How are they getting the attention? How is it that Congress folks that don't listen to us, that don't bring us into their offices, how do they make time and give an entire audience to people that violated the law and elevate their issues over ours? How is it that you're finding Democratic Congress senators, high-ranking senators, that fly themselves over to a whole nother country on behalf of someone else when you do not see coverage of them doing the same? I would know because I dealt with an unjust situation and I wrote to some of them. I had documentation of the injustice that I dealt with that included government agents, and nobody responded to me like that. I didn't get the attention, the coverage, even when the Democrats don't have power in the White House like they used to, in the Senate like they used to, in the House of Representatives like they used to. They used their energy to fly to another country to bring attention to it. Every time you see one of them go on a major news channel, they're bringing this up as a top issue. But they didn't do that for us. How dare you? In my last 5 minutes, can the team put up a picture real quick? Can you all put up a picture? I want the producers to put up this picture that I pulled from a book because you rarely find this image around anymore. And I'm getting ready to read you what this is. Okay, I think they got it up. Can y'all see this image in my last 5 minutes? Can you all see this image that's up? If you're just coming in, be sure to watch the entire broadcast after it's over and share this, okay? As they keep this picture up, I want you to listen to me reading from this book that's called Understanding the Assault on the Black Man, Black Manhood, and Black Masculinity. What you're looking at is Bill Clinton right there, family. As I read you the context of that photo that you're watching, that you're looking at, that's Bill Clinton there. Are y'all ready? At Stone Mountain Correction Institute with Democrat Leadership Council leader Sam Nunn, Georgia Governor Zell Miller, and Georgia Congressman Ben Lewis. Do you all see the brothers standing there? Do you see the other black man obscurely to the left over there in gray? And do you see all the other brothers looking all good in their prison slave uniforms there? Vicki, tell them what it's about. I got 4 minutes. In 1985, Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton, somebody say a Democrat, joined political strategist Al Frum, Georgia Senator Sam Nunn, Virginia Governor Chuck Robb, and Tennessee Senator Al Gore. Somebody say, who is Al Gore? Wasn't that his vice president? And didn't Al Gore run for president sometime after he was scheduled to win until the Republicans cheated with Bush brother in Florida, among other places? Keep going, Vicki. They were known as the Democrat Leadership Council. Somebody put DLC in the chat. I want y'all to research that. I don't want y'all to forget this. The aim of the DLC was to get the White House back from the Republicans by making the Democrat Party more palatable to a key constituent. Who? White males. Southern white men in particular. Taking a page from Nixon's Southern strategy, the DLC would appeal to the Southern white male electorate by whistleblowing the embrace of white supremacy. There is no clearer, more transparent display of the DLC's aim and agenda than the campaign event. That's what you're looking at, that picture there. Campaign event, not by Republicans, but Democrats, family. Y'all listening? There is no clearer, more transparent display of the DLC's aim and agenda than the campaign event that they organized for presidential candidate Bill Clinton, March 1st, 1992. That's what y'all looking at there. A week before Super Tuesday. Are y'all listening? It was a press conference held at the Stone Mountain Correctional Institute in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Vicki, while you're reading this, keep in mind what I just said about the El Salvadorians and the illegal migrants that's over here and all the stuff that the Democrats doing to protect them instead of us. Watch this. The small state correctional facility was actually located at the base of the actual Stone Mountain. Y'all ready? Georgia's most renowned historical marker. Why, Vicki? By imposing Stone Mountain, is also an iconic site. Are y'all ready? For American white supremacists. The initial sculpting of the mountain, celebrating 3 Confederate soldiers, was by a Klansman named Gutzon Borglum, B-O-R-G-L-U-M. Y'all look him up. Y'all ready? Who sculpted Mount Rushmore. The modern Ku Klux Klan was born during a rally atop Stone Mountain on November 25th, 1915. For the next 50 years, Stone Mountain would be the site of the annual labor cross burning. And as Nathan Robinson, editor of Current Affairs, writes, quote, the town of Stone Mountain itself also became, quote, white supremacist Mecca. Perhaps no other location in the country has remained so closely associated with white supremacy for so long, end quote. The state prison where this Clinton campaign event took place was at the base of this icon of white supremacy, located at 5500 Venerable Street. James Venerable, after whom the street is named, was a legendary local Klan leader. Last couple of minutes. The picture taken from this press conference depicts Bill Clinton flanked by DLC leader, as I said, Sam Nunn. Behind him, Georgia Governor Zell Miller, and opposite Nunn is Georgia Congressman Ben Lewis, outspoken defender of the Confederate flag. Behind all these suited white men and suited young black males, suited in prison jumpsuits, the racist audacity of this photo op is stunning, as Christopher Petrella of the Boston Review even points out. He says back in the day, because he couldn't believe the Democrats did this, quote, it's hard to imagine that the DLC would not have been aware of Stone Mountain's significance as a theater of white supremacy when it staged Clinton's campaign event at the prison there. In fact, the choice of that particular place as a campaign stop, arranging white political leaders in the business suits in front of a subjugated black male prisoners in jumpsuits, is illegible except in the light of this history. I'm going to stop. You can take the picture down. I wanted to remind you all that in addition to my story of injustice and countless of other foundational Black Americans, we don't remember y'all answering our plea. We don't remember you all coming to us. In fact, you decided that we should be sacrificed and enslaved. And in fact, you said that you're going to build your campaign upon our slavery, and you're going to put it in our face with Klansmen to outdo the Republicans and their racism. How dare you? I wanted to put this in historical context to remind you of that. And what did Bill Clinton, remember that photo's from 1992. What did he go on to do in 1994? To sign the draconian, anti-Black, modern slavery crime bill that's responsible for the injustice and the undoing for at least 2 generations of Black families. I got to stop now. My name is Vicki Dillard, beloved. Normally, I'm here Tuesday through Thursday. We're getting back on track here soon. Tuesday through Thursday live, 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on African Diaspora. Be sure to tune in tonight for Brother Phil's channel, for Brother Phil's broadcast. I got to go now. My name is